Hi, Peanut. I'm gonna need you to come with me right now.
Look, lady, I'm not interested.
All right, well, I'm sort of on the tick-tick, so upsy daisy.
John and I just got out of Deadpool and Wolverine. I was excited for this, John. I assume you were. What were your first thoughts walking out of the theater?
I felt something again watching a Marvel movie that I haven't felt since probably Endgame.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you would say we're all the way back? Are we kind of back?
Ask me what I was feeling.
What were you feeling?
An erection.
Okay, that's what she said.
Because watching a rated R Deadpool, a rated R Wolverine team up in what felt like a 1990s throwback flick, that gave me everything I needed. I haven't felt this way in a comic book movie, I mean, maybe since I was a young man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, we were sitting close to each other. Are you sure it was yours? Anyway, I had a blast with this movie. I mean, genuinely, this is a comic book come to life. And sometimes we can say that about comic book movies. Other times, not really. I felt the moments between Deadpool and Wolverine, and then with Deadpool and Wolverine and some of the other characters in this movie, it felt like we were watching the pages on the big screen. It was colorful. It was just full of action, all the action you want, and it was really edgy, man. I thought this pushed the R rating maybe just as much, if not more, than the first two.
No, in a much more clever way with all these payoffs throughout all the other films leading up to this, and they had jokes that paid off.
Yes.
20 movies in, they made... Someone just crushed something.
Crushed a bottle.
Shut up!
What were you talking about?
I genuinely believe this is the most I've laughed during a Deadpool movie. I did not think that was going to be the case, because, you know, when the Marvel, the Disney banner, sometimes it prevents movies from being as edgy as we want them to be. This did not do that. There was nothing constricting Ryan Reynolds in this movie.
I don't know what you're talking about. I thought The Marvels was the most hilarious film I've ever seen.
For the wrong reason.
But this film, for all the right reasons, was one of the most clever, well-written. It started off a little bit obvious in the first act.
Yes.
Some of the meta humor, but it's like they got it out of their system and just told a story.
Yeah.
And all the humor along the way fit perfectly. Even when they're breaking the fourth wall, you still buy into the drama and the action happening instantaneously after that.
And the fourth wall breaks. The moments that not only harken back to the universe that we're in, but other moments in other universes, but then talking to the audience, saying the things that Ryan Reynolds wants to say, involving the MCU and the little jokes and gags involving the characters that we've been watching for the last 15 years in the MCU, man. This is like, 5 years ago, I never dreamed this would be a reality, but seeing a Deadpool and Wolverine movie in all of its glory in this way, maybe one of the coolest things the MCU's ever done. I don't know if this is going to be the thing to set the stage, set the standard for what is to come, because you never know. Marvel may pivot back to what they were doing before, but I do believe if they take this and run with it and go in more of a direction like this, we could be saying in 2 or 3 years, maybe the MCU is back. And I don't know if that's going to be the case. I don't know exactly what they're doing with this specific story, but if they go off of this and especially apply it to future X-Men movies, I'm going to be saying that was the right move, the right direction to go, and I'm going to be very satisfied with what we get.
If this is the new timeline, if this is the new style, if this is the new tone Marvel wants to go, I think they're going to bring back all the bitter fans, and I was one of them.
Yeah.
They're going to bring us back to the theater and capitalize on the properties that they have, and I can't wait to see what happens. I have faith in Sean Levy if he does, in fact, direct the upcoming X-Men movie.
Yeah.
If that's any indication of what we're going to get in the future, okay, I'm satisfied.
Yeah. And this is not us saying it's a perfect film, right? Maybe I wanted some more emotional moments with certain characters that I can't talk about yet. And,
whisper it in my ear.
Maybe just a little bit, a little bit to kind of harken back. But, you know, going forward, the crux of the movie is Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman on screen together. They deliver that in spades, and we get it over and over and over, man. You're not just getting, this is not a spoiler, you're not getting one fight with Deadpool and Wolverine. You're getting multiple fights with Deadpool and Wolverine, and everything you've ever wanted to see as a kid growing up loving these characters, I do believe you get it. Some of it requires patience, but inevitably, John, in that third act, there's a payoff that had John freaking, had me geeking. It was amazing.
I haven't moved about that way since I was a young boy in the bathtub, playing with my Wolverine doll, doing a berserker attack. Whatever that means, take it how you will.
I was there.
But yeah.
Yes, you were. Yes, I was.
But nevertheless, you were here again tonight, and that's what counts.
Yeah.
This is a comic book movie, but it knows it's a comic book movie, but it elevates the genre even further.
We're riding a high. I think that's a beautiful way to say it. We're riding a high.
Yeah, it's late.
It's late, But I'm going to throw it to myself here in just a second. Current day. Maybe I've calmed down, maybe I haven't. But the fact that we feel this way, John, I would say that's a good thing, right?
I don't like anything anymore from cinema or Hollywood.
John hates everything, man.
But this made me feel like I was 12 years old again. I loved it.
Thanks, past and less good-looking Austin. So it's the next day. I wanted to sleep on this to see how this movie resonated with me and to see if I feel as excited as John and I did last night.
What do you mean by that?
Real quick, I want to let you all know that our podcast movie mode is going to be crazy this week. Today at 6, Ryan's going to be interrogating me on this movie. No spoilers, of course. And then Ryan, myself, and a special guest, you can probably guess who it is, we're going to be talking spoilers this weekend. You don't want to miss that. Now, back to me now. And to be honest with you, to break your hearts, I still kind of do. I feel the adrenaline rush 12 hours later, and that's all I needed from this movie. I needed to feel the rush of seeing Wolverine and Deadpool on screen, but it makes sense. The banter to work, the dynamic, the chemistry. We know that's going to be good because they're such good friends off screen, but it genuinely translates. And however you feel about this plot, I am sure some will come out and say, it's a little messy, it's kind of all over the place. I get that to a degree, and it's there, it exists, it gets us from point A to point B, but that's not really why I was enjoying myself. And I want to be clear, I'm seeing some people say, wow, the cameos, of course that's going to hype people up, people who just want nostalgia bait, what's wrong with them? Yeah, obviously that gets me hyped, that's really cool, but I enjoyed this movie because it's like a love letter to the Fox universe of old. And not to say it doesn't have MCU elements, that's the premise of the entire movie, to be honest with you, but it really does feel like it harkens back to that in a good way, while not including things I think a lot of people are going to be expecting, but shifting their focus to something else in its entirety. That was shocking, very unexpected, and how they utilized the void was super cool. That's part of what delivered the moments. Now, that may have been my only visual issue with the movie, and I get it. Film Twitter, they're like, oh, the movie's great. And then they realize there's still 6 months to edit the film, and oh, guess what? It looks so much better now. The movie itself, it's bright, it's vivid, it looks like a comic book come to life. That's how I felt about the first Avengers. Now, if you like the Russo brothers' more grounded look, I don't know if that's going to work for you here. Funny, because a lot of people, they were saying it was gray. It's not gray, very colorful. The Mad Max world that we live in for a little bit, that's kind of grayish, a little better than the trailers, but yeah, visually, maybe not the best.
I don't believe you.
But everything else is so comic booky. I go to a movie like this to see a comic book come to life. That's the type of character Deadpool is, and he's commenting on that along the way. That's exactly what I got. Not only the look, the feel, the cinematography, the shots, the shot selection, which is all, it just feels like a comic book come to life, but the moments they give us with the core characters. Moments we've been asking for 20 years. They deliver in spades. Is it fan service? Yes. Does it make sense? Absolutely. Is it shoehorned?
Nope.
Because that's the whole reason we're getting the movie in the first place. I mean, it wouldn't exist without us wanting to see that. And guess what? They deliver. Shocking. I know. Austin, calm down. What are your issues with this movie? Well, I'll say it again. I do believe the story is maybe a bit weaker than I wanted it to be overall. Now, all of the other amazing things are able to compensate. The moment, the comedy, the fact that this is a hard R-rated movie in the MCU, did not expect that. But the story is simplistic yet a little overly convoluted. There's a lot going on. But again, Deadpool is a very specific type of character. You should expect the movie that you get, one that does not take itself seriously. And because it's so comedic, not really MCU comedic, a very different kind of comedic, it doesn't have a ton of time for emotions. So there was one character, and I can't talk about who it is specifically, that was a little shortchanged with the emotions. It doesn't hurt what came prior, but for me, I wanted a little bit more of an emotional connection there, and hopefully that's explored down the line. But right now I'm sitting back going, man, I wish they would have done something more with that movie. Now, no lack of emotions with Deadpool himself, which was a little surprising. We haven't talked about Ryan Reynolds, who is amazing. It may be his best performance yet across the board, however many versions you want to talk about. And then Hugh Jackman. And again, I can't say it's a better performance than Logan, but I can say he's having the most fun he's ever had, and he actually gets a lot of emotional scenes one monologue in particular that almost feels like it shouldn't be in this movie because it's so comedic, but it really elevates the time that he's on screen, so I'm glad I got it. But again, it's the banter between Wolverine and Deadpool. That's what you sign up for. That's what you pay money for. That's what you get. And if you want that, you're looking for that, something funny, something edgy, something that plays on all of the cliches and tropes of the past, as well as behind-the-scenes stuff, because he's very aware of that, then I believe you're going to enjoy this movie.
I hope so.
I need Cable's time machine to go back in time and talk to young Austin, tell him, hey, do you know you're getting this in however many years? Like, do you understand that this is going to be a thing? Something that you've always wanted to see, and now it's legit? It's a thing. I would have just faded away like Avengers Infinity War turned to dust. Yes, I feel so alive. I need that Wolverine popcorn bucket so I can just shove my hand in it. Let's score this thing. Thanks again to John, the Flick Pick, helping me out as always. And of course, you all for supporting my other channel, Burke Reacts. I had a special reaction on there. You all showed up. Thank you so much for that. And if you want to check out Movie Mode this weekend, as well as Pop X Cast, which we're bringing back for a special edition, spoilers, Easter eggs, there's a ton of them. And when I say a ton, I mean more than I ever anticipated and not the ones I expected. So there you go. There's your tease, and there's a post-credit scene, so be ready. Deadpool and Wolverine has every ounce of juice that the MCU has so desperately lacked as of late. It reinvigorates the franchise and injects the glorious madness of Deadpool in the best and most self-aware way. It is entirely aware of the type of insane story that it is telling, and that is occasionally messy, yet there is still plenty of heartfelt moments, with Jackman especially. Those who show up for the dynamic between our heroes will get an insane amount of payoff. I'm not saying this is the most well-structured movie in the MCU. I'm not even saying it is the highest of quality in terms of storytelling, but it was just a really nice fit across the board, and I don't want to fully spoil my list, but it may just be the best one yet, meaning the best Deadpool movie we've gotten, at least the most entertaining, and that's something we're going to discuss in another video. Thank you so much for watching. Thanks to everyone for helping, Josh for holding the light, and I'll see you very soon.